I want to go around and circle back to something you said about like the ideology in the Republican Party and how there might be a larger coalition that could form on the basis of trying to create a larger welfare state.
Yeah.
And I think let's make this its own section here, because like there are Republicans like Josh Hawley from Missouri, who's a senator, who I vehemently disagree with on almost everything. But in the wake of the COVID pandemic, he and Bernie Sanders actually worked together to try to pass a $2,000 stimulus check.
Yeah.
Him and Bernie Sanders have actually tried to work together to try to raise the minimum wage.
Yep.
And so there have been instances where we've seen these, pretty hard right cultural reactionaries come around and be like, no, I can get on board with some progressive politics.
Yes. J.D. Vance is another example.
J.D. Vance is another example of that. Now, listen, again, J.D. Vance, I don't agree with him on that much, but if we can build a consensus around, like, let's
Taking
make
from the
sure,
rich and giving to the poor.
and let's make sure that Social Security is fully funded by raising taxes on people making $170,000 a year, at least take that proposal to J.D. Vance's and Josh Hawley's face
Exactly.
and make them deny it on live TV, right?
Yeah.
Take it to them. Be like, hey, man, I know you want to keep Social Security safe. How about we raise taxes on people making over $170,000 a year and keep it fully funded forever? How does that sound to you?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I would think that's okay. Weirdly, I can't think of House Republicans that are similar in this way.
Yeah, I
Right.
can't either.
So, and of course, Republicans hold the House. So you need a majority there.
Yeah. I'm thinking of some Republicans in the House that would be on board to do something like that. But it's different because it's so interesting, because the hard right in the House is such a different beast from the hard right in the Senate. I would classify Josh Hawley as a hard right person.
I would too.
I would classify J.D. Vance as a pretty hard right person.
Yes.
But we're still able to make some of these economic compromises, or at least they allude to them that might be possible, right?
Yeah.
When we look at the hard right members of the House of Representatives, we get Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Lauren Boebert.
Yeah.
These are no people that would ever cooperate with the Democrats on anything, let alone some type of massive economic reform.
Yeah, that is an interesting divide to me, right? Like, it's sometimes compromise versus never compromise.
Yeah.
And they're supposedly at the same part of this political spectrum. What is the difference? Is the difference just that Senate elections are statewide, so they can build wider coalitions of people that are less just hard right Republicans in their local areas?
I think you're dead on the nose, dude.
Okay.
Because when you're talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's in like a plus 40 Republican district in North Georgia.
Yeah.
Right. You don't want to go to North Georgia if you're a black guy. I mean, you don't want to do that.
Okay.
So like, you don't like, that's not good. Okay.
Okay.
You're talking Cherokee County of Georgia. That is as cultural reactionary as you can find in the country.
Okay.
Right. But then you get to J.D. Vance, and yeah, J.D. Vance has to represent, rural Ohio, but he also has to represent Cleveland.
Yeah.
He also has to be responsible in some way to the voters in Cuyahoga County. So, it makes it a little more difficult for him to be totally like that. And I think Senate elections do attract just a better type of politician.
Okay.
End of story. Right? Congressional elections are only 750,000 people you're being responsive to.
What do you mean by a better type of politician? Less reactionary?
Well, no, I mean less. I think when someone gets elected to the Senate, they have a desire to govern that doesn't necessarily exist for a person going into to the House of Representatives. And the reason I feel comfortable saying something like that is the House of Representatives is not as prestigious at all.
Okay.
It's not as difficult to do to become a congressman than it is to become a senator.
Okay.
Right?
So even though prestige is an aspect of the Senate, you think there is more purity in the desire to govern and lead the country?
Yeah.
So it's not just that they're doing it as a status symbol.
Yes, that's how I view it. At least I think that a different type of person goes into the Senate than goes into Congress or goes into the House of Representatives. That's how I view it. I don't really know other way to handle that discrepancy, but
Yeah, me neither.
it is so interesting that there are the right wing of the Senate and the right wing of the House are so vastly different.
Yes.
And it's just,
It is weird.
yeah, I really like the idea of us doing a deep dive on the
Shifting
changing
coalitions.
political spectrum and
Yeah.
the different coalition, like especially the movement of the suburbs
Yeah.
post-Trump, right? Like that's a really interesting topic.
Exactly.
Yeah, we should definitely talk about that.
Okay.